Is there a way of installing Ubuntu, Windows Subsystem for Linux, on Win10, v1709, without using the store? The Microsoft Store app is disabled by group policy by my university. I have administrator rights on my computer and I was wondering if there was a way of installing Windows Subsystem for Linux, WSL, directly? Or maybe via Chocolatey or some other command line method? I would like to download and install the Ubuntu on Windows without using the Microsoft Store. Note that since version 1709, Fall Creators Upgrade, only enabling developer mode is no longer sufficient.
Info: I tried this on a VM with Win10 Pro, v1709 and AMP 1803, with stock group policy, i.e. as is with a fresh installation. That is, turning the store off in pedit.msc did not make a difference. According to Microsoft's Windows Server Installation Guide. Note that this answer shows the steps for Debian only. However, everything is the same for Ubuntu, SULS, OpenSUSE, and Kali. The only difference will be in the name of the exe, and the URL you use. Activate Windows Subsystem for Linux. Via the Windows Features GUI, for example Win+INGT, optional features.exe. With PowerShell, as administrator, enable Windows optional feature online feature name Microsoft Windows Subsystem Linux. Download the Linux package. Choose your distro. Simply use one of these URLs. Debian, https://aka.ms/wsl Debian New Linux. Ubuntu 18.04, https://aka.ms/wsl Ubuntu 1804. Ubuntu 16.04, https://aka.ms/wsl Ubuntu 1604. OpenSUSE, https://aka.ms/wsl OpenSUSE 42. SULS, https://aka.ms/wsl SULS 12. Kali, https://aka.ms/wsl Kali Linux. Via PowerShell, run, invoke web request URI https://aka.ms/wsl Debian New Linux outfile/debian.zip usabasic parsing. If you do not need the progress bar, add $progress preference equals silent like continue in the front of the command. Note that ~debian.zip can be changed to whatever path and name you want. You can also download it per Manus, feed the URL into your browser, or download manager, and you can get it this way, too. Unzip the downloaded archive and place it into its destination path. Note that you can use any path, be it /ehotubuntu//suls_wsl, be it c://ubuntu, etc.p.p. It must, however, be on your system's drive, usually c:// thanks, at Matt Wenham. Via PowerShell, expand archive in LT, archive in GT, and LT, its _new_ path in GT. Via the File Explorer's GUI. Or via any zipping tool, such as 7-zip. Run debian.exe, which is inside the unzipped folder. For the other distros, you just have to look for the correct exe. This will now install your distro. Set your username and password. If error 0 by 80,070,005 shows up, you need to run the exe as administrator. Thanks, at March Ho. It is recommended to update all software at the first start. In Debian and AMP, Ubuntu, this is done by running sudo apt update and amp and amp sudo apt upgrade. Optional, put your exe into the start menu. Simply put a hard link of debian.exe into c:/program data /Microsoft /Windows /start menu /programs. Optional, repeat for as many distributions as you like to have. You are good to go now. Run debian.exe whenever you want WSL to run.
This is a short procedure, applies for Windows 10 Fall Creators Update and above. Enable Windows Subsystem for Linux feature from optionalfeatures.exe and restart PC. From Windows Server Installation Guide. Download any one of the following file, with any browser or any download manager. Ubuntu. This URL redirects to this URL, old link. OpenSUSE. This URL redirects to this URL, old link. Sols. This URL redirects to this URL, old link. Open Apex packages with 7-zip. Extract only the executable file, for example ubuntu.exe, and install .tar.gs in any drive or any folder. Double-click on that executable file and it will be installed. Notes: you can now install any new /Linux distribution using compressed root tarballs only. tar.gs, provided in distribution sites or from Docker images.
You can 1. Download the installers from the Windows Store or 2. Download a distribution file and install it using tools such as Run Offline or WSL Distro Launcher. You can install Ubuntu 18 or many other distributions using the second option. Downloading the installer from the Windows Store. You can download the installers from the Windows Store using PowerShell. For instance, you can download the Ubuntu 16 version using the following command. In the above command, the output file is ubuntu.apex. It must be named in that way. You can run that application to install the Ubuntu. Using Run Offline. First, you must download some distribution file. There are many distribution files available in the Run Offline wiki. For instance, to install the same Ubuntu 16 from the Microsoft Windows Store, you can download the file at. Then, you can install the Linux distribution using Run Offline. To run the distribution, you may use the same Run Offline. Using a distro launcher. You can use some distro launcher. There are many versions based on the Microsoft example to create custom Linux distributions for WSL. For instance, you can use the Yux 7 version. You must download a distribution file in the launcher.x. To use the same distribution file mentioned above, you must rename the distribution file to roots.tar.gs and the launcher to the distribution name you want. Later you must run the launcher as an administrator. I got errors running it as a normal user. The first time you run the launcher, it installs and runs the distribution. The next time, it runs the Linux distribution. After installing, you can manage the distributions using the wsconfig or the wxrunoffline commands. Note, in addition to the distribution files mentioned above, you can create a new file based on other Linux distributions. You may try the instructions included in the wslinstall project. You may need additional steps after the installation to start the new Linux correctly.
Enable WSL on PowerShell as administrator. Install the distribution of your choice using Chocolatey. For example, for Ubuntu 18.04.1 LTS.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.